It is a controversy that's been raging among Republicans for several years now. The 2001 law signed by Governor Perry, known as the DREAM Act. It allows undocumented immigrants brought here as children to pay in-state tuition at state universities. The DREAM Act is expected to be a major topic in the lieutenant governor's race next year. Supporters say children brought here through no fault of their own should be allowed to have an education. But opponents say the tuition break attracts would-be border crossers. Roughly 16,000 undocumented students attended Texas colleges and universities at in-state tuition rates in 2010. So how are the candidates doing balancing their positions while at the same time trying to attract more Hispanic voters? That's the front page talk this half hour. Joining us in our newsroom, we have our legal analyst Chris Tritico, news analyst Mustafa Tamiz, and public policy analyst Jackie Bally. Good morning to y'all again.
Good morning.
All right, so certainly a very hot topic, especially in the lieutenant governor's race right now, because all four major candidates have come out saying they want to get rid of the law offering the in-state tuition. So what are your thoughts?
Well, I think Greg Abbott is the one who's trying right now to balance this. He's come out and said he wants to modify the law. He doesn't like the way it's implemented, which I don't really understand what that means, but that was his way of skirting the issue. Dan Patrick has come straight out against it and wants to get rid of it. And what we'll talk about, we'll start with you, Mustafa. This law, all it does is allow someone who came here as a child to pay in-state tuition. They didn't ask to come here, their parents brought them here. I don't understand the issue on why we need to get rid of this law.
Well, the Republicans nationally have discovered that repealing legislation is really a good thing. It's working out really well for them as they try to repeal Obamacare. Now they want to go back and try to repeal something that's been incredibly popular in our state. That makes a lot of sense, that the kids that are here already, it's better they get an education and be good citizens. It's okay to take those same kids into our military where they go out and fight and serve for our country, but giving them the opportunity to get an education at the same cost as other kids in our state, oh my God, that's just awful. So I think if they go down this path to appease a small, narrow Tea Party minority, it's fundamentally great for Democrats, and I encourage them to keep doing this.
Understanding that the Republicans are going to have to bring Hispanics into the Republican fold if they're going to continue winning in Texas, is this really the right thing for Dan Patrick and the other people to do that are attacking this law?
Well, the Hispanics are the sleeping giant, and we're just wondering if they're going to wake up, because right now they're not voting. So we're assuming that when they do start...
But those that do vote Democrat right now.
Well, that's not necessarily true, because trends are showing in Texas, that the conservative Hispanics are the ones who are most consistent and the ones who go to the polls the most.
Right.
However, what we are seeing is that Hispanics are more aligned with conservative values and Republican values than they are for the Democrat values. And I look at a county like Fort Bend County, which is the most diverse county in the United States. We're 25, 25, 25, 25, and we vote overwhelmingly Republican. So a lot of people are assuming whenever those Hispanics do start voting, because they're not voting right now, but when they do start voting, they're almost going to automatically align with the Democrats. But that's not necessarily true.
I got to run to Sally, but wasn't it the immigration issue that caused Hispanics to overwhelmingly support Obama in the last two presidential elections?
I think what you're seeing with the Hispanics, well, they voted for Ted Cruz, and Ted Cruz is definitely very, very strong in his position on immigration.
Real quick.
Look, I think it's a myth. One, Hispanics do vote, but they're a younger population and they're newer immigrants, so they're going to vote more and more. But two, the fact that they have conservative, there's no polling that indicates that. It's a talking point, but that's all it is. Because if you look at Kleinberg's poll in Harris County, it shows that Latinos and Asian Americans are more supportive of government, and this anti-government stance that Republicans make is not going to sell.
All right, let me run to Sally. She's monitoring the social media accounts.
Yeah, we're reading your comments as you leave them in real time right now on our Facebook page. There's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to what the DREAM Act does. It's not a free education. And so Jerry, he wants to clarify for everyone. He says, I'm not giving an opinion, but he says it is not a free education. It is allowing undocumented immigrants the right to pay in-state tuition rates. Want to ask you guys, though, is it possible that we could see the DREAM Act eventually disappear? It's been here since 2001, since Governor Perry signed it into law, which was well before, before 9/11, and when a lot of these issues against it came up.
Well, I think if Dan Patrick wins the lieutenant governor's race, that's going to be agenda #1 for him. the way he's talking about it. And then the question will be is if Greg Abbott wins, is he going to sign it or is he going to veto that?
Well, General Abbott, when he does win, he's made it clear that he thinks that there's some type of version of that law needs to stay in place. He did say we are going to do an overhaul. He did say he's going to look at some of the provisions, and he said he's going to roll out his policy, and which will specifically tell us exactly what he has in mind. But he did say some version of that law needs to stay in place.
Real quick, I got to go.
That's just subtle nuance. In the end, he just can't say it, because if he did, he would have a problem in the Republican primary.
All right, we're going to leave it right there, Sally. We'll be back in the next hour with two really, really good topics.
Okay, we look forward to it. Thanks so much, guys.